Hi all, welcome to our PlatformCon 2025 topic, Customer First Platform, bridging the platform between engineering and developers. I'm Jonathan Jesuraj, Principal Software Engineer at DraftKings in the Infrastructure Platform Strategy team.
Yeah, and my name is Jesuraj and Nechyporuk. I'm leading AI platform team.
And we're here to talk to you about how we made a mindset shift about you working with our customers to help move our platform forward. Our agenda here is we're gonna talk about what do you get when you actually talk to your developers and listen to them. Talk a little bit about how we got to where we are, some of the challenges that we faced along the way, and if you're looking to start, this is how you start. So, what happens when you listen? In an ideal world, if you listen to our developers, this is where we are. You are better aligned on roadmap and priorities. You know what you're working on because you're working on what provides the most value to your engineers and platform users. You're constantly listening to feedback and you're listening to their pain points. You're working on improving them because as a platform team, your job is to be a force multiplier. Small improvements that we make on developer experience multiply as they go outside throughout the organization. The other thing is talking to your developers, you identify gaps in your systems. Maybe you thought getting onto your CI system was very easy. All you have to do is configure 20 things. You're like, oh, that's easy, anyone can do it. A developer may look at it and be like, this is way too much work, or I'm not reading this document. Can you guys just automate and do it for me? So we identify all these gaps of things that we think are easy, our developers, or it's actually challenging for developers. With all of this, you get improved developer and organization velocity. Your developers will move faster, and they'll also trust you that you trust the platform teams that they're working on something that is important. As I said, the big thing here is your developers are your customers. If you take that mindset, they're also right there. You can just go talk to them, and because of that unlocks a lot of things. So with that, Ihor is going to talk to you guys a little bit about how we got to where we are. So Ihor, throwing it over to you.
Yeah, so it is pretty easy to start a platform. Like when there are obvious gaps, like you don't have a way to build your artifacts, you don't have a way to deploy your services, you don't need to collect that much feedback. You just provide that capability, and the earlier adopters will take it and they will use it. But as your platform scales, as mergers and acquisitions happen, as your customer base grows, it actually becomes really tricky to figure out what your developers need. Like you might be releasing a lot of features, but those features might not even be used. This is not a problem in the beginning, but as you move on without getting enough feedback, you will make more and more mistakes. And these mistakes then accumulate, and it leads to frustration and negativity from your users. They might really not understand like why you're working on this and not on something that they really need. And all this negativity basically comes from the painful experiences with with your tools, because what was acceptable in the beginning of your platform, maybe it became like really hard over time, and you haven't paid attention to the places where you had to. And at the end of the day, you get a really poor perception of your platform. You sort of feel it, but you don't really know where to even start because you just haven't used to work in that bigger scale. So that's where we were. And John, over to you. What we changed?
Yeah, so after some discussion with our team internally for some of our projects where we thought were really cool that just never got picked up, we started to wonder why aren't people taking up our stuff? We thought we made it easy. We started talking to more developers. We started to say, "Hey, why are you guys not taking this on up?" And they're like, "Oh, like the documentation is pretty bad, or it wasn't as easy as you thought, or this is a very small portion of our day-to-day. Why are you guys focusing on it?" We started talking. We got a lot of really cool insights on a decent amount of our projects. Um, Kubernetes migrations, they're like, "Oh, can you guys make this script to make it easier so we don't have to do half the stuff?" Like, there's a lot of automation. Once we started doing some of these things, we realized that, oh, adoption became easy. So this was our aha moment where we're like, we should start talking to our customers. Have our engineering teams talk to them to understand what's going on. So we started to look at trying to build more customer focused, collect more customer focused data. We sent out quarterly surveys asking about all of our capabilities, what people thought of them, collecting NPS scores and comments. From there, stuff that had bad press or bad results, we sent out in our company communications to join a focus group where we could sit and talk to a variety of customers across the users across the organization, get their experiences, build some level of hey, we're listening to you, and we took a lot of the feedback that we were given and actually implemented them. There are certain organization groups within the company that pockets in the company that had a really hard time onboarding some of our stuff. We created town hall meetings where they could just talk to us, express frustrations. We'd solve problems for them, office hours or Q&A sessions. We did user studies where very focused. We have one developer walking through how they deploy something or how they build something, and the rest of us are there watching them, and we're like behind a Zoom screen watching what's going on so you can understand, and we get a lot of really good insights. Other things that we did very intentional over communication. We would post roadmaps. We started posting new features, all of that. And then finally, the big piece is tracking adoption of our products and figuring out how many users actually used our products in the past X amount of days, what level of what users, repeat users, what parts of the company, and tracking user experience. So that's kind of how we started looking at this. With all the data we collected, we were able to prioritize the work that we were doing. We fixed the issues that caused the biggest problems. We shifted our mindset of we're doing this unified to go ahead and improve our efficiency. Instead, we said, is this unification important? Is there a way you can do it in a way that doesn't impact developers and focus on something more of high value to the organization? And then we would still prioritize our unifications. It would just be much lower or in parallel or in a smaller pace than less aggressive than what we had. As mentioned, we also tracked our usage. So it wasn't just, oh, we delivered an upgraded CI system or delivered this. Well, what's the outcome? Did lead time go down? Did MTTR go down? Any of these things. We are actually tracking the data. And the last thing is we focused on scalable impact. We stopped doing things for just one team or a few teams. We tried to see if we can extract that to solve a larger problem across the organization. So with that, Ihor is going to talk about the challenges we face as we stood up this process here at DraftKings. Ihor?
Yeah. So the first thing is that probably if you are starting this process, there is a good chance that you are starting it because you haven't been doing a good feedback collection before. And if you were not doing that, your users might already not trust you. So it's like you will need to rebuild the trust. And how you rebuild the trust, all the feedback you collect, you need to show your users that you actually acted upon it. Like you need to provide the good examples of the thing that was raised and you fixed it. And each time you are doing that, you are restoring trust bit by bit, and it will become easier over time. But you might get really a bit demotivated in the beginning when you do something really valuable that's like substantiated with the data, but your users might still receive it with a big caution because of the previous not very pleasant experiences. Then another challenge is that it's pretty easy to start collecting some feedback. Let's say you just send like a Slack message to one group of people, they share it, you do a survey here, survey there, but over time your leadership will ask you to provide this data in a repeatable manner. Like how do I compare like feedback from a quarter ago to now? What methods and techniques I'm using? Should I use NPS scores? If I'm using NPS scores, like am I allowed to change the question a little bit, or should I stick it should I stick to the same questions to favor repeatability, and so on and so forth. So so over time you will have to treat it as a strategy, like how you do it and do you make it repeatable. And it's very important that you acknowledge that you not only like start to engage with your customers, you are changing the mindset. You start with changing your own mindset, and then you work with platform engineers that surround you to change their mindset. How to switch from thinking like what is good for me as a platform engineer, like what will make my life easier, to actually what will make life of my customers, developers easier. And also very important to get the buy-in from leadership, because doing all this customer engagement, collecting the data, it actually takes time, and it might be a full-time job or even like a couple of full-time jobs to do that. So you will need to justify why you are doing this and not other work, because everyone is busy. In our case, we were lucky our leadership was already on board, but this is important to keep in mind that in the beginning it feel like extra work, and only over time you will realize that this investment pays out.
Yep, for sure. Um, and with that, we'll get to how do we start, right? So now we're all platform engineers here. If this is something that you think would be useful for you, well, we'll talk about some of the tools and things that we did to get us started. So the key thing here is you need to establish a feedback loop. That's the biggest and most important thing. This is not a and this is something that you have to keep on doing. Well, and the thing is, you don't have to do it for the whole organization. You probably just have to do it for like a couple products or a couple capabilities. And you can enter this loop wherever you want. You can start by announcing changes that, hey, we're releasing a new feature. You can go get feedback on this new feature. You can do that by having people comment on it or finding out who your users are and asking them or surveys or whatever. Get those results. Think about them. Do they make sense? Are people happy? Or if they're not happy, try to understand why. Or if they're happy, try to understand why, because you want to try to repeat that for the next time. Take that feedback and iterate on it. Try to see if you can. All right, it's our the new CI system is cool, but it's really slow. All right, let's go to try to improve it. Do some improvements, and then we deliver to customers. But we're not delivering it to everyone. We work on trying to feature flag or gate it, so only a few customers. We beta test. We set up these over-the-shoulder sessions where we can go ahead and watch a developer use our new feature. We use our focus group surveys, whatever, to try to do that. Once we feel like it's in good shape, then we go back and announce. And then we take feedback on that. So we're constantly iterating, going back and forth with our developers. This is the most important part of this is you want to make sure you have this feedback loop. If any of these pieces on the feedback loops don't work, then the whole feedback falls apart. Yeah, it's a constant process. We're constantly doing this. And with this mindset and with this change that we put together, we have successfully transformed our platform to be customer focused and making sure that we're working on things of high value, but also ensuring that we're keeping our platform reliable and stable. So it's a balance that we strike, but introducing the customers has made our lives easier and in turn made our developer experience so much better. So with that, I want to thank you all for listening to our talk. Again, I'm Jonathan Jesuraj, and that's Ihor over there. We're very happy to present to you guys, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Both of our LinkedIn's are on here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bye.